What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the A24 Archive. This is the segment on my channel where I go back through A24's entire catalog from the first film they released all the way until whenever I get caught up. And the movie I'm going to be discussing with you today, I've already seen once before, and I actually really enjoyed this movie the first time that I watched it. I did not know much about it before I went in to watch the movie, other than I knew the director, Claire Denis, and I knew that it starred Robert Pattinson and Mia Goth, which was enough for me to want to see it. And when I saw it the first time, I was really just kind of blown away by the visuals and the way that the subject matter of the film was conveyed, and just how visceral the emotion was. It's a very disturbing, thought-provoking, sexual film. Like, there's a lot of really intense imagery in this, and it goes in a direction that I didn't expect. And so I was looking forward to revisiting this because I haven't seen it in several years. I think the first time I watched it was like 2019 when this was released. So I've been really looking forward to revisiting it, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about High Life today. High Life is directed by Claire Denis. A father and his daughter struggle to survive in deep space where they live in isolation. So, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie the first time that I watched it, and I loved it even more this time around. I think this movie is incredible. I love strange, surreal, abstract films, and I really love the approach to this movie. It's told in a non-linear structure, and I feel like it examines some really interesting ideas when it comes to human sexuality, when it comes to the prison system, when it comes to the mistreatment of inmates in the prison system, when it comes to parenthood. There are a ton of really interesting themes that this movie explores in a way that I feel like less utilizing tons of expositional dialogue and more just conveying things through very powerful imagery. And that's what I think makes High Life such a successful movie. And I'm excited to tell you a little bit about it today. So, the beginning of the film, we're introduced to Monty, played by Robert Pattinson, and he is aboard this spacecraft. And we know very little about what's going on other than he's walking around with a baby. And we see him early on put all of these people that were aboard this spaceship with him into spacesuits and shoot them out of the door in the space station because they've clearly all died. We don't know why. We don't understand what happened, but that's the really early parts of the movie is him being a parent to this newborn child and kind of cleaning up this ship and going about these very day-to-day mundane tasks. And we learn through a bout of expositional dialogue that he is aboard this ship because there was this new program instituted on Earth. There was a trial period for criminals. It could either be a violent criminal, someone who's committed murder, someone who just has no chance of survival, that they were given an option instead of rotting away in prison. They were sent aboard this spaceship that will travel hundreds of thousands of miles away from Earth. And initially, I believe they were sent up there to collect these minerals and to do this work. And that's how they would serve their life sentences. Well, when they get on board this ship, it's Robert Pattinson's character Monty and a ton of these other characters. But the main ones to focus on is Dibs, played by Juliette Binoche, who is the one sort of overseeing the entire operation, and Boise, played by Mia Goth, who becomes a really big part of the movie. And Dibs, Juliette Binoche's character, is doing these weird experiments on the people on board where it seems that she's trying to get someone pregnant. She wants to try to have a baby on board here and see what happens, which obviously, as we learned, clearly it was successful because Robert Pattinson's character is taking care of the baby. And the entirety of the film is told in this non-linear structure, watching these people on board this ship, watching how most of them befell their deaths, and learning, is there a sustainable way of life for these prison inmates aboard this ship? So, like I said, I love this movie, and there are a ton of reasons why I love this movie. But for starters, I'll talk about the performances, whether it's Robert Pattinson, Juliette Binoche, Andre 3000, Mia Goth, everybody that shows up in this movie does a really phenomenal job. I feel like these characters, despite there not being a ton of overblown expositional dialogue, there's a lot of really great small character building moments through a lot of interesting set pieces that I think work really well. And if it wasn't for the performances in this movie, I don't think it would be nearly as captivating of a film. Cinematography and production design in this is stellar. This world has so much personality personality on board this ship because there's so many different areas in the ship, so many unique little details incorporated in each and every room. It brings the spacecraft a ton of personality, which makes it easy to be on this journey for almost 2 hours long. And I feel like each and every spot in the spaceship, it was just so interesting. And you just kept unlocking and unraveling new bits and pieces of how it operates as the film goes on. And that's what I feel like makes the movie so incredibly captivating, is how just brilliant and distinct the visuals are. I also love the music in this. It has an almost like dream-like ethereal quality to it that just keeps you on the edge of your seat through the entire runtime of the movie. And I think all of those things play together really well to create something very interesting. And what I really like about this movie is all of the different subject matter that it tackles. For starters, like I said, really the prison industrial complex, and like thinking about that the prison system would probably do something like this, and how even on board this ship where they're told that they're doing this one specific job, they're still being mistreated. They're used on these experiments. Like Monty, Robert Pattinson's character, is very against what Juliette Binoche's character is doing. He will not engage in it, but she drugs them and she does things without their consent, and she does all of these horrible things because she doesn't view them as people. And once we learn more about her character, we realize like her ability to pass judgment, it's not warranted. And I think that that's so incredibly true of the prison system in not just the United States of America, but globally, where sure, in a lot of cases you get violent criminals or you get people that are put in jails, but they're not treated as people. They're just treated as like okay, we're putting them in this area because they can't function with the rest of society. So we don't care how they're treated. They can be beaten up, brutalized, sexually assaulted, all of those different things. And I really like the way Claire Denis explores that, because she gives each and every one of these characters a distinct enough personality to where we're not even necessarily sure what crimes they committed. And it doesn't really matter. She's just trying to show you these are people that are being taken advantage of in horrible ways. And then seeing like the way that the prisoners kind of interact with one another, and how some of them are much more violent than others, and others are just trying to serve their sentences. Like Monty's character, he's like, I did something bad in my life and I just want to do what I came here to do and not get involved with all that other stuff, but then stepping in when things get really bad. And I really like that element of the movie, and I think it's really interesting. And I also think the look at like human sexuality in this is really interesting, especially in the confines of a prison system where it's like you put people in this area, and Dibs tries to tell these people that outside of her control they have to be celibate and they can't engage in sexual activity. And it's like, okay, they're human beings. And then you see like the more extreme, like one of the prisoners who gets violent sexually in the movie, and just like thinking about sex in the confines of like a prison system. And then this person who is fascinating with conceiving a baby on board this ship. I just found all of the way that they approach that subject matter to be really interesting. And it goes in a direction when it comes to like fatherhood towards the end of the movie, where it's like, okay, you've been put in this situation where you're raising a child where this life is the only thing that they know. They don't know anything outside of the confines of this. They didn't choose this life. They are not a prisoner. They are not a criminal. They didn't choose any of this. Now they're in this situation. How can you attempt to try to make their life the best that it can possibly be while they're trapped in the confines of this specific situation? And I just think all of those ideas thematically are fascinating to explore. And there's something that I thought about for hours after the movie was over the first time, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since I watched the movie this time. And I think that it's a really well-made movie that explores some really fascinating ideology. And I think that if you're interested in any of this subject matter at all, you should 100% watch High Life. So have you seen High Life? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was fantastic, and I'm already looking forward to watching it again. As always, if you like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.